Hi guys, Blake here with Lilley's Landing Resort and Marina on beautiful upper Lake Taneycomo. It is Tuesday, April the 20th, and it's snowing. And also, this is going to be the one cast for today. So today I boated up. I'm just right across from Short Creek. It's right over there on my left. And I am over here kind of closer to the bluff, working this channel here. And today I've got a fly rod out. I've got a few different things with me. But I've got my fly rod. I've got one of these medium-sized airlock bobbers on there, or indicator or float or whatever you want to call it. I've got that set at about 6 foot right now, going down to a pink power worm on a 1/48 ounce jig head. I've also got a couple other things rigged up, but we're going to try this out today. I'm going to scoot out here more towards this flat. So, the snow that they were calling for has landed. It's here, and it's been a pretty thick snow, actually. They are currently running 2,500 CFS on the lake. Which is roughly a little bit more than a half unit. But other than the really cold weather and snow, it's a beautiful day. There's no wind. Nice medium snowfall. And it's been a while since I tried some jigs under floats or pink power worms under floats here on this flat, so I decided to come up here and give this a try today. I've only got one fishing report for the day. The Abernath group that was staying with us went out this morning before all the rain and snow came, and they said that they worked the bluff out in front of the dock. They were using, I think, 1/32 ounce white jigs. They said they were casting all the way against the rocks on the bluff and just letting it fall down about 5 to 7 feet, and then they'd hook into a fish. Alright, nothing officially on the first cast. I want to get that out there a little farther. So this water's going even a little slower than it was last night when we did the one cast. There's a fish. Quick view of him there. Oops. I almost knew that was going to happen. There we go. I might even turn the boat on and just go right back up here again when I get to the bottom here. Not a very long drift. There's another one. Oh, I had him. But that is the only fishing report I have for today. We talked to that gentleman last night who was fishing up by the Narrows. he said he was throwing a white jig underneath a float along the bluff and through the narrows and doing pretty well too. So maybe the white jigs along the bluff areas are still doing fairly well. Snowfall today is really thick, heavy snow. I think I need to decrease my depth just a tiny bit here. The water's not quite as deep as I think it is. So I'm just going to take about a foot out of it, go to 5 foot of depth. So some of the other things that you could try on this flat under an indicator when the water's moving this slow is different colors of the Turner micro jig. We've got some up there and I'm really not even sure what they're called. Darren at the shop makes them. They're a little 1/100th ounce jig head with Chanel body and a marabou tail. And he's got some up there that are the ginger, all ginger color, and they seem to work really well whenever the water's moving like this or off. And I've got one of those rigged up. And then any of the finesse smaller jigs all the way to a 1/32 ounce size underneath an indicator. Of course the pink power worm. You could probably even get away with trying to drift a minnow under an indicator in this area right now. Oh, there's the fish. Got him. This is always a good flow for the pink power worm. Slow enough that you really don't need any split shot with the jig head. Just the weight of the jig head itself is enough to. Oh, there's another one. I'm gonna try to hold myself right here, or right here, getting close to being across from Trout Hollow on the Eddy. I don't have too long of a piece of worm on here. It might be about 1.25 inches long. Usually the faster the water, the longer the worm, slower the water, the shorter piece of worm that you need. If you feel like you're getting a bunch of short bites, just kind of pinch a piece of that worm off. I think we're going to take a little... Oh, there was one. Of course, as soon as I talk about moving, something comes up and bites it. There he is. Alright, I think what I want to do is turn the boat on and drive right back up on that flat and do this little drift over again one more time here. The snow is super wet and heavy, and you can't drive the boat very fast without being blinded. One more again. Try my best to wipe the camera lens off there without smurring it, blurring it more. Right now my depth finder says that I'm setting over about 6.5 foot of water, so my 5 foot of depth should be just right here. One thing you always want to make sure is that pink power worm is on the jig head, straight up and down. For some reason, if it gets twisted or it pulls off the jig head even just a little bit, they get very uninterested. This is a pretty cool view here in April. And by cool, I mean literally. It's a little chilly outside after you get used to those nice 65, 70 degree days. I'm just going to make sure that my worm looks right. Yep. And this is shallow enough of a setting on your bobber depth that you could be doing this with any rod. This is a 7.5 foot 3-weight fly rod, but you could be doing this on just about any spin cast rod as well. I think the snow is coming down even heavier than it was before I got out here. Sometimes fishing out here is just about finding that little stretch where the fish are really congregated at, and then just doing short drifts like I did here, and then repeating. Now, this time I pulled the boat out all the way to the middle because this is one big flat, and I just wanted to see if there were some fish out here somewhere as well. But I do know that I could have went to the same line over there and probably found a few more fish. But sometimes it's good all the way across this flat, even over here by the dockside. I think, yeah. Okay, oh, that's something you gotta watch for too. I was dragging the bottom with my worm, so it means it's shallower than 5 foot right here. So we're gonna scoot that down again. So now I've got it set at about 4 foot. Oh, there was one. I went to mend my line and the bobber went under before I even got the mend in. Well, I'd venture to say that this is a pretty good flow for getting the pink power worm out or some smaller jigs and cruising these flats. Make sure. There's another one. Oh, he popped right off. I think I might even try going inside the eddy here. If anyone's ever fished here before, once you're coming down towards Trout Hollow, you see these trees sticking up out of the water here on the corner. Trout Hollow is just kind of 75 yards over there to the right. But this water back here gets real slack and a lot of fish like to hold up into it, and you can pull into the eddy and spot lock or tie off to one of these tree limbs and you can fish this eddy water. I think I might try pulling into it real quick. I'm going to go ahead and set my worm a little bit deeper again. Water back here does get deeper. This is kind of where the flat ends and the drop off starts. There's one. This guy's a little bit bigger. The deck of the boat is starting to get very slick. Is. So now I'm sitting on the inside of the eddy. I'm just kind of fishing out towards that seam line. Whenever there's not any chop on the water or it's a bright clear day, you can kind of wiggle your indicator, give that whatever, that jig or the worm, just a little bit extra action under the water. Supposed to get down below freezing tonight here. I think 29 degrees is what they're calling for. I'm gonna sneak up right behind those logs again. I think there's a number of fish holding up right there. Now, the snow's coming down so thick now that I can barely see. I mean, you really can't see more than couple hundred yards of visibility here. So I've got my boat nosed right up in here in these logs. I'm just going to try to work the front side of the eddy here. Yep, there's a fish. That's a really pretty... What is that? Oh, that's a rainbow. He's just one of those really yellow-bellied rainbows. There, bud. So just a few different ways that you can work this area here. You can pull right up in here. I've actually managed to parked the nose of the boat on the log, so I'm not moving anywhere right now. I'm just casting right out here along the front side of these logs where that current is at. This will require just a little bit more casting and retrieving, but I think before I leave here, I want to try that little 1/100th ounce jig with the Chanel and the Marabou on it. Just a cast or two here. So it's kind of covered in snow. That's what it looks like. Got a little Chanel body, 1/100th ounce jig head with a little tiny Marabou tail. And I've got that one set at about 5 foot as well. It's on 5X tippet. I lost my position on the log here. And the snow is beginning to let up here. They weren't calling for it to last too long, I think till about 5 o'clock. Most of the participation ends. Oop, I had a fish on right there as I was pulling that out of the water. So, despite the cold snap and snow, I think the fish are still feeding just fine today. Alright, we'll make this the last minute. See if we can get one on this jig. If you wanted to keep fishing, there's one. If you wanted to keep fishing down this stretch, you could easily just put this down a little deeper, maybe in the 7 or 8 foot range, and go down this stretch on the inside bend. Alright, we'll just call this the last fish. So we thank you guys for watching today. Like and share us on Facebook, and we'll get out here and do it for you again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.